Imagine stepping outside onto another planet. The sky above you glows a sickly orange. The air is thick, so thick you can feel it pressing against your suit like a wall of concrete. The temperature? 465 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to melt lead, hot enough to incinerate you in seconds. And the rain, when it finally falls, is pure sulfuric acid. This isn't a sci-fi horror story. This is Venus, right now, 38 million kilometers from where you're sitting. We call it Earth's twin. But that's one of the most misleading things ever said about our solar system. Because the real Venus, the one hiding beneath those beautiful clouds, is something else entirely. In the next 12 minutes, you're going to see Venus the way almost no one talks about it. You'll understand why every probe we've ever sent to its surface was dead within 2 hours. You'll learn what its sky looks and sounds like. And you'll discover whether humanity could ever survive there. No fluff, no filler. Let's go. Venus has been studied for centuries. Ancient civilizations watched it rise before dawn and called it the morning star. Poets wrote about it. Astronomers tracked it across the sky for thousands of years. And yet, until the Soviet Union launched the Venera program in the 1960s, we had absolutely no idea what was actually down there. Why does this matter? Because Venus is our closest planetary neighbor. It's nearly the same size as Earth, same density, same mass. For decades, scientists believed it could be a tropical paradise beneath those clouds. That belief was spectacularly wrong. Here's what you're going to understand by the end of this video. First, the real atmospheric and surface conditions on Venus, explained so clearly you'll never confuse it with Earth again. Second, the incredible, tragic story of the Venera probes, the only spacecraft to ever transmit images from the surface, and why they died so fast. Third, the most extreme geological features on Venus, some of which dwarf anything on Earth. This channel covers deep space science the way it deserves. No dumbing down, no sensationalism. Just the facts, told in a way that actually sticks. If you've ever looked up at Venus in the night sky and wondered what it's really like, this is the video you've been waiting for. Let's start with the atmosphere, because before you even reach the surface, Venus will try to kill you in 3 completely different ways. The first is pressure. At the surface of Venus, atmospheric pressure is 92 times greater than on Earth. That's equivalent to being 900 meters underwater in our oceans. Your body wouldn't be crushed. It would be obliterated instantly. The second is heat. The surface temperature averages 465 degrees Celsius. Not because Venus is close to the sun. Mercury is closer, and its surface is far cooler. Venus is so hot because of a runaway greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid clouds trap solar energy so efficiently that heat simply cannot escape. Ever. Think about that. A planet that has been slowly cooking itself for billions of years. The third threat is the clouds themselves. From about 45 to 70 kilometers altitude, Venus is wrapped in a continuous layer of sulfuric acid droplets, not mildly acidic. Pure sulfuric acid, the kind that dissolves metal on contact. And the winds up there, at cloud level, can reach 360 kilometers per hour. The entire cloud layer circles the planet every 4 Earth days. Below the clouds, at the surface, winds slow to a gentle breeze. But it doesn't matter. It's still 465 degrees. Here's something that surprises most people. Despite these hellish conditions, there's a narrow altitude band, around 50 kilometers up, where temperatures and pressures are almost Earth-like. Some researchers have proposed that microbial life could theoretically survive there. We'll come back to that. Stay with us, because the surface itself makes this look like a warm-up. Now let's talk about the only machines that have ever touched the surface of Venus. Between 1970 and 1984, the Soviet Union launched a series of spacecraft called the Venera probes. These weren't simple satellites. They were built to survive what engineers knew would be one of the most hostile environments ever encountered by a human-made object. Venera 4 was the first to enter the atmosphere in 1967. It was destroyed before reaching the surface. Scientists hadn't realized how extreme the pressure would be. The probe was simply crushed mid-descent. They redesigned, they reinforced, and in 1970, Venera 7 became the first spacecraft to successfully land on another planet and transmit data back to Earth. It survived for 23 minutes. Then came the photographs. Venera 9, in 1975, sent back the very first images ever taken from the surface of Venus. What scientists saw shocked them. Not a smooth, featureless plain, but sharp, angular rocks. Young rocks. Rocks that looked like they hadn't been there long. In 1982, Venera 13 landed and survived for 127 minutes, a record that still stands today. It transmitted color photographs, recorded the sounds of the Venusian surface, and even performed a soil analysis. One of those recordings captured something extraordinary: the low rumble of wind, the distant crack and shift of rocks, the sound of a world none of us will ever visit. Every single Venera probe was eventually destroyed by the heat and pressure. Not one lasted more than 2 hours. The surface of Venus didn't just challenge our technology, it erased it. And here's the mind-bending part. No mission has landed on Venus since 1985. Over 40 years ago. The last photographs we have of its surface are 4 decades old. So what does the actual surface of Venus look like? Not from orbit, from the ground. Imagine standing on a vast volcanic plain. The sky above you is not black. It's not blue. It's a deep burnt orange, like the inside of a furnace. The sun is invisible through the thick cloud cover, but the light is bright and diffuse, coming from everywhere at once. The ground is covered in flat, dark volcanic rock. In the distance, mountains rise sharply. The largest is Maxwell Montes, nearly 11 kilometers high. Taller than Mount Everest, taller than anything on Earth. Venus has more volcanoes than any other planet in the solar system. Over 1,600 major volcanic structures. And scientists now believe many of them may still be active. In 2023, researchers analyzing Magellan spacecraft radar data from the 1990s found direct evidence of an active volcanic eruption on Venus, the first confirmed active volcanism on another planet besides Earth. There are also features unique to Venus called coronae, massive circular structures formed by volcanic upwellings from the mantle. Some of them are over 2,000 kilometers across. We have nothing like them on Earth. And then there are the tesserae, heavily deformed, chaotic terrains that look like crumpled aluminum foil stretched across hundreds of kilometers. Scientists believe these may be the oldest surface features on Venus, possibly remnants of ancient continents. The planet resurfaced itself completely, roughly 500 to 700 million years ago. A catastrophic volcanic event flooded the entire surface with lava. Everything before that moment? Erased. Venus doesn't just have a violent surface. It has a violent history. Let's bring it all together. Venus is our nearest planetary neighbor and one of the most extreme environments in the entire solar system. Its atmosphere crushes with 92 times Earth's pressure. Its surface temperature melts lead. Its clouds rain sulfuric acid, and its winds at cloud level reach hurricane force. The Soviet Venera probes were the only machines brave enough, or well-engineered enough, to reach its surface. The best of them survived 127 minutes. We still have no newer photographs. Its surface is dominated by volcanic plains, towering mountains, and features found nowhere else in the solar system. It resurfaced itself completely hundreds of millions of years ago, erasing its own past. And yet, there are scientists who believe Venus may harbor microbial life in its upper clouds. There are space agencies planning new missions, NASA's Da Vinci and Veritas programs, ESA's Envision mission. Humanity is going back. Venus isn't just a warning about what planets can become, it's a mirror. Some models suggest that Earth, under the right conditions, could follow the same path. The question isn't whether Venus is terrifying. It obviously is. The question is, what can it teach us about our own world? If you found this useful, hit subscribe. There's a full playlist on extreme planetary science right here. No clickbait, no filler, just the universe explained.